Hey guys, and welcome to another Random Review Monday. The movie I'll be watching today and reviewing is Sherlock Holmes 2 Game of Shadows. No easy way to say this. I thought this movie was awful. I thought it was so awful. And before I say anything else, I just want to tell you, yes, I did see the first movie, and yes, I loved the first movie, and I was expecting this movie to be exactly the same or even better, and it wasn't. Okay, so what's happening in this movie? Watson is getting married and Sherlock Holmes is kind of going a little crazy. He has this really big, crazy idea that this college professor is involved in all these other things, but he can't find any evidence for it. So everybody seems to think he's crazy, but really quickly they're all learning that this guy is really who Sherlock thinks he is. And so they go on a crazy hunt to find him and stop him from doing all these things. The things I loved about the first movie was that the dialogue was really funny, it was really quick back and forth, but it was witty, smart dialogue. The movie in general was very dark, and it's fun. The acting is great, the characters are great, the relationships between the characters are fantastic. The action is exciting without being too over the top. Yes, there's slow motion scenes, but they don't last too long, I don't think. And they were exciting, and they were fun to watch. And the movie was long enough to keep your attention, but not too long. The story was just generally interesting. None of that exists in the second movie. Sherlock and Watson being the same characters, but the dialogue is awful. They still have the quick back and forth, but the wit is totally gone. There's nothing funny, or even nothing charming, nothing even slightly amusing about what they're saying. What I feel about this second movie is that it's such a dumbed down version of the first one. I feel like the second movie was made for children, because all the puns in this movie, which there are a lot that they throw at you constantly, are childish. In fact, I'll tell you one right now, because just to show you the level of humor that's in this movie. Everyone in the group goes on horseback, and Sherlock Holmes tells everybody that he's afraid of horses and doesn't want to ride a horse. So they're like, oh, well, we need to find a solution to this problem. So the next scene is them all riding on horses and him riding on a pony at the back. That's not funny. I'm sure me explaining it to you wasn't funny, and it wasn't a funny scene. I don't think the story is particularly interesting. I think the villain is a typical, really smart, you'll never beat him villain. He just has no personality. He's just some rich, smart guy that's rich and smart and boring. That is a villain. That's all there is to him. It's 2.5 hours long. Far too long. Not interesting enough to be that long of a movie. And a good half hour of that is fucking slow motion. You've probably seen the scene in the trailers where they're running through the forest and being shot at. That scene is so long. Like the first movie, the awesome fight scenes where he's calculating everything, they try and do that again in this movie, but I feel like they slowed it down even more, and instead of him analyzing the person, he decided to make puns the entire time. One of which he decides to make puns about making an omelet. Isn't funny. Overall, the dialogue is weak. It's really childish. It's not witty. It's very dumbed down. The character interactions aren't really good. This new female character doesn't add anything to the story. The villain isn't interesting, and his whole plot around him isn't interesting, and it seems a little too ridiculous to be even slightly believable. The story's boring. The movie is far too long. The filming is over-dramatic. Would I recommend it? Absolutely not. If you need to go see a movie, go see the first Sherlock Holmes, because it is fantastic. This movie is awful. One more thing I wanted to mention. I'm glad you guys liked my vlog so much. Not expecting that at all. I'll totally put up some on Saturdays sometimes or whatever if you guys want to see that. So I'm glad you liked it so much. So I will see you guys on Thursday.